total. So who are they all? We endeavour to find out. And this week it's the Conservative MP for North West Norfolk, James Wild. James, good morning.
Good morning, Tom.
Thanks for joining us. Now, despite the fact you've lived and worked in London much of your life, much of it in Westminster, you're a born and bred Norfolk boy. You were born in Norwich, I believe. Were you in a political household in Norwich?
No, I was born in Norwich. I lived in a market town called North Walsham, about 10 miles from there. No, my dad worked in manufacturing and engineering. And my mum was worked in various retail roles, and then more latterly as a teacher. So, no, but we kind of I've got two brothers and a sister, so we did talk about sort of current affairs and things around the dinner table, which I think is when I first got interested in sort of political issues.
You went on to study politics at university, and then you came to work in Westminster. A very political career. Did you always want to be a politician from the get-go, I suppose?
No, actually, I was quite interested in moving into your business as a journalist.
You're still welcome to.
Yeah, sorry?
You're still welcome to.
Yeah, well, who knows how these things may end up, but I do a lot of writing in this role. But no, I was interested in journalism and politics, and then after university, I did actually have a place at Journalism College in Harlow, but then a political opportunity came up, and when I had to make the choice, I went down the political route. So it seems to be going okay so far.
Well, you got yourself elected, which is a very good start. Now, look, you end up working up as a special advisor in Westminster throughout David Cameron's era, when he was Prime Minister, for a series of different ministers, to Michael Fallon, David Lidington, and then he went on to work for Theresa May in Downing Street when she was Prime Minister too, as her senior special advisor. An unfair question, but I'll ask it anyway. Who's your favourite boss out of those?
It's quite invidious to make that choice, but I think I worked for Michael Fallon probably for the longest period of time, and learned a lot from him. And I was fortunate to work in business and energy department with him. But also, and you'll appreciate this, I had 3 great years in the Ministry of Defence. And your previous defence correspondent role, you'll know how great an opportunity that is to meet so many people serving Queen and country and to travel around the world. And it was also a period when Daesh ISIS were at the gates of Baghdad. We had big parliamentary events and joined the international coalition there to take on those terrorists successfully. And also Putin's separatists had shot down NH-17 and killing hundreds of people. So it was a very volatile period, and one I very much enjoyed experiencing.
Yeah, it was a powerful time. I remember that well. What, though, would you say to people who might say to you, well, it's great that you've spent so long in politics behind the scenes, you know how government works, you've been there at moments of intensive national pressure, but it might be useful to do another job as well, so you can gain valuable experience of real life rather than just politics?
Yeah, no, that's a fair challenge. I mean, in between those political roles, I did work in private sector for T-Mobile, EE as it is these days, helping to support the rollout of mobile networks and broadband, and worked in an advisory business, working with other international companies and smaller companies and charities, advising them on how to make a difference. And I think the role of special advisors, I mean, the official status is as temporary civil servants. So like other people in public service, you're there to kind of serve the public and try and make their lives better and to serve your country. So I've never lost touch with my background, where I'm from. My parents worked hard, my grandparents put good values into me around responsibility and working hard, and then rewards will come your way. And that's really why I decided I wanted to use that experience of how government worked to help Norfolk, the area that I grew up in, and to boost the area and boost opportunity for other people.
Now, sometimes people like me get into trouble for bringing in people's partners into interviews like this because you stand in your own right. If you don't mind, I will, though, because you're married to someone I know, some very interesting. Of course, Natalie Evans is your wife. She is Baroness Evans, who is not just in the cabinet, but also leader of the House of Lords. How often does Natalie remind you that she is considerably more important than you at the moment?
She doesn't really need to. I'm fully aware of that. I can see the cabinet photos in the toilet in our house, and I know how important she is. And I suspect it's wise to always think your wife is more important than yourself. But we're a political household. But actually, because we both do these jobs and live and breathe them, actually, when we get home, the last thing we want to do is sort of keep talking about politics. So we'll happily put on Netflix or go out and have a drink or a meal and sort of talk about other things.
Yeah, that sounds very sensible. James, let me bring you up to date, though, the modern day. And I must ask you about the current political situation and the pressure the Prime Minister is under by quite a few of your colleagues now to resign. Presumably you've been back to Norfolk since this erupted again afresh in the week. You've spoken to constituents, you've spoken to your party members. What are they saying to you about the Prime Minister? And is there a feeling, certainly in Norfolk, amongst your members, that he does need to go?
I was back in Norfolk, went up on Thursday, and I did a public event on Friday evening. And look, my constituents, like the rest of the country, made these huge sacrifices during COVID, not being able to see family members in care homes apart from waving at the window or going to funerals. And the people I spoke to are very angry. They're outraged at the behaviour that's been reported. I'm angry and outraged at what's been going on. The Prime Minister's apologised for this, and he said he should have acted differently. Frankly, I wish he'd said that sooner. And what I said to constituents when I spoke to them and when I was challenged on us at meetings was, there's a lot of reports out there, and frankly, we want to get the full picture. And then once we've got the full picture, that's the time to look at disciplinary action or people taking responsibility once we have all of those facts. I appreciate why people feel the sense that could happen now, but I did say to them that was where I was coming from on this. But I'm certainly relaying the views that my constituents expressed to me into the centre.
So you're reserving judgment on whether the Prime Minister should stay in his job or not then until you see Sue Gray?
I think the right thing to do is absolutely because we saw, frankly, the appalling reports about parties the night before the Duke of Edinburgh's funeral. He chose to spend much of his time at Sandringham in my constituency, so I was as disgusted as other people that happened. But with all these reports around there, I want to see the complete picture, and then that's the right opportunity to take a proper view on this.
When you say, frankly, I wish he'd said that sooner, you wish the Prime Minister apologised sooner, when should he have apologised? From the very first allegation or early in the week?
Well, I think it would have been helpful if it had come before Christmas, to be honest, when some of this was all washing around. But we are where we are. He's now apologised. I was in the House when he made that fulsome apology, and I think we know he's acknowledged he should have acted differently, but I think we need to get the full picture, which I'm sure Sue Gray is working as rapidly as she can to get that out there, because it's such a high interest.
To be clear, James, you haven't yet decided whether your party leader should remain in place, is that right?
Well, my view on this is we'll wait and see what the reports say before we take views on disciplinary or other action. I haven't called for him to resign. I'm not calling for him to resign at this stage. I'm waiting to see what comes out in this report, and then people can take their judgments.
OK. James Wild, the Conservative MP for North West Norfolk, thank you for meeting us and meeting the UMP this morning.